No. My pranams to all Atma Jyotis, divine light of the self. Today, let us contemplate on the ocean of consciousness. The consciousness is like an ocean, and mind is like a wave in the ocean. So let us understand. Let us get into understanding of the consciousness as ocean and mind as waves. Many people say that I have heard so many classes. I've heard so many spiritual classes, meditation classes. I've understood everything, but I have no experience. Okay? So I have not realized. I have no experience. I have not realized. I have attended 10,000 hours of Vedanta class. I have no experience of reality. I have not understood. I have understood very well. Actually, if you ask me to write an examination, I'll write entire examination. I will not fail. I'll get 100 marks in Vedanta teaching. I remember everything what is taught. Tell me how to realize. So today we are going to discuss about realization, about experience in the context of the ocean of consciousness. Hearing all this, what people say, I remember one story. There is a psychiatric patient. There's a psychiatric patient who thinks he's a rat. He has a disorder. He's a delusion that he thinks he's a rat and he's afraid. He's afraid of people. He's afraid of cat. He's afraid of light also. He hides in the room because he thinks he's a rat. He goes to the psychiatrist and tells, I'm a rat. Psychiatrist understands the problem and starts counseling him. You're not a rat. You are a human being. You are not a rat because you don't move like a rat. You are not a rat because you don't live in the underground. See, you look like a human being. So much of counseling is done. The patient thinks he's all right. He goes back, and after a couple of days, he comes running back to the psychiatrist office. Psychiatrist asks, what happened? I already told you you're not a rat. The patient says, I'm very convinced that I'm not a rat. But there's a cat in my house. Does the cat know that I'm not a rat? So this is our situation in spirituality. The Vedanta teaching is given saying that you are not the body, you are not the mind, you are not the intellect, you are pure consciousness. Now we want to get experience of consciousness. The person who thinks is a rat, he wants to get experience of being a human being. He's already a human being. He is thinking he's a rat. How can he get an experience of being a human being? You are already consciousness. You are not a body or mind or intellect. How do you get an experience of being consciousness again? So you are actually looking for something imaginary. The illusion has to be removed. And this illusion is compounded by the spiritual literature. Spiritual literature in the world, it says, they give so many explanations. The beautiful word called self-realization is coined. In reality, there's nothing called self-realization. Self is already realized. Self is the only thing which is realized. There is no self-realization. It is like the psychiatric patient who thinks he's a rat, telling him that you realize you're a human being. He is a human being. He is thinking that he is a rat. Okay. Self is already realized. Self-realization is wrong. And why it's wrong? Because we start thinking that self-realization is an experience, an event in time. One day I'll get self-realized. So we are making self-realization as an event in time. It's false. The human being who thinks he's a rat, okay, realizes that he's a human being. Is it an event in time? He was already a human being. He was under the illusion that he's a rat. I am already consciousness. The consciousness is all consciousness. There's no ignorance in consciousness. So consciousness is always realized. Self-realization is not an event in time. It is like somebody who is having a dream. In the dream, he is captured by thieves and being tortured. When he wakes up, he understands that it was all a dream. Similarly, in our dream, in a dreamlike state, we are thinking that we are a body, mind, and intellect. The one who is thinking he is a body, mind, intellect is a dream character. It's not real. So the dream character cannot realize the real. The mind cannot understand the real. And nothing has happened to the real Atma, the self. Nothing has happened to that. Self is awareness. So self-realization is not an event in time. Because it's not an event in time, you think that, okay, I have all understood all this spirituality. One day I will become self-realized. Then you are living in an illusion. Because that one day will never come. Because self-realization is not an event in time at all. Self-realization is a self-recognition. Whatever already you are there, you have to just recognize it has to happen now. And from the point of the self, there's no tomorrow. There's no yesterday. The self is always now. Self is always the presence. The moment you say tomorrow, the moment you say a day after tomorrow, one day I'll get realized, you are creating another reality for yourself, another dream for yourself. That self-realization is something in the future. It's your own creation. You are postponing realization because without understanding, self-realization is always now. It's here and now. Because self is the presence. Self has never seen the past nor seen the future. The past and future are illusion from the point of self. So in the villages, if you go, on the doors they write, come tomorrow, Nale ba. Have you seen this? Some villages. The villagers think that there's a ghost in the village. So to chase away the ghost, to tell the ghost that don't come, the ghost may get angry and attack you. So they write saying, tomorrow, come tomorrow. So the ghost will come tomorrow and again go. Ghost will come tomorrow and again go. It will not come to your house. So this is the illusion. One day I'll get self-realized is the illusion which you are creating over and above what you have. Because the one day will never come because you are bringing in a concept of time in self-realization. Self is always now. All our experiences are in now. Recognize yourself here and now. Has yourself anytime changed? You are a young boy, you grow up, you went to job, you are middle-aged now, you become old. Everything in your life is changing. Your family, your circumstances, your environment, your body, your mind, intellect. Everything is changing. But has your I changed? What you call as your I? What you call as I, not the thought. You say, I was young, I grew up, I got married, I am now here. That I which you are speaking of has not changed. That's the only thing which is unchanged. And that is consciousness. Consciousness is not an object. Consciousness is not what you are. That unchanging consciousness is there in all events. And for all the events, for the consciousness is always now. And you are that consciousness. So you say, okay, I will recognize myself tomorrow or day after tomorrow. It's an illusion. You can recognize yourself only now. The realization or enlightenment is always here and now. So then we have, first is illusion of time. Enlightenment or liberation will happen in an event in time. That's wrong. That's false. That's illusion. You are never in bondage. You are always free. The I is always free. The I, so-called I, which you call as I, which is consciousness, has never changed. The body has changed, the mind has changed, the intellect has changed, there's a pain in the body, but there's, for the consciousness, nothing has happened. That's why you are able to confidently say, I was there, I was here, I am going. That I never changes. That unchanging I, which is pointed out by the I thought, is real you. So I'll find myself tomorrow. How it's possible? Then the illusion of time in realization is one thing you have to understand. There's nothing called time in illusion. And we have been created, a lot of stories are created. Oh, this person got enlightened on that day, that person got enlightened on that day, the enlightenment today. Actually, it's not enlightenment day, it's ignorance day. Our language is creating bondage. Okay? He understood his ignorance on that day. The word called enlightenment day is also false. We call it ignorance day. We get attracted by the autobiography of all the people. That person did this, he went to Himalayas, he did that, he did that, he did that, he got such and such an experience. Again, another as illusion. We are thinking that enlightenment is an experience. What we don't recognize is the enlightenment is the only experience what we have at any point of time. Again, an illusion of experience. Oh, I understood everything, but I don't have experience. That's why I have a problem. Again, this is an illusion. Enlightenment is an experience, is another illusion. Enlightenment is not a special experience. Enlightenment is recognizing every experience as the conscious experience, self. Look at your own, any experience in your life. I enjoy fruit. I enjoy a cup of coffee. Your experience has two parts, a changing part and unchanging part. Changing part and unchanging part. When you drink a cup of coffee, the drinking cup of coffee is an experience. The drinking cup of coffee experience appears and disappears. It appears and disappears. Like there's an ocean, a wave appears and disappears. One experience appeared and disappeared. Then again you drink a cup of coffee, another experience appeared and disappeared. Is there an experiencer and experienced in this experience? Is there duality of experiencer and experienced? When you are having an experience, there's no duality. When you drink a cup of coffee, the coffee is in your mouth. You have forgotten yourself. The mind, ego is disappeared momentarily. The mind has become silent. In that silence of the mind, there's no separation between the experiencer and experienced. There's a oneness, there's a non-duality. And because there's non-duality, there's happiness. The mind has become silent momentarily. Then you come up again, then the mind comes up again, says it doesn't understand that happiness which you experienced was the happiness of the self, bliss of the self, which is experienced at that moment. At that moment, mind is not silent, mind is silent. Then it says, oh, the happiness came from cup of coffee, as if the happiness is in caffeine, happiness is in sugar, as happiness in coffee, milk. Is there happiness in any of this? Sugar, milk, coffee? Then if happiness is available in this, buy 1 kg of happiness, no? Happiness is not in that. Happiness is when the mind became silent. When the mind became silent, egos became silent for a moment. And in the silence of the ego, the subject and object became one. Non-duality is experienced. Happiness of the self is experienced as a cup of coffee, but mind doesn't understand that. Mind understands only the cup of coffee as happiness. So, you are experiencing yourself in a cup of coffee in the form of happiness. Every happiness you have in the world is not happiness from the objects, but your own happiness. You are only wrongly attributing to happiness because of cup of coffee, happiness because of job, happiness because of something else. Happiness is the absence of ego. Absence of ego happens when the mind momentarily becomes silent. Then your own self is experienced as happiness. Every object you experience in the world which gives happiness is self only. Then the mind comes into picture. The splits that experience into experiencer and experienced. I am the experiencer and this is being experienced. So now if you look at the closely the experiencer, the mind says that I am the experiencer as the body. The body as the experiencer is changing continuously. It's also part of the changing phenomena. The mind as the experience also is changing. The intellect also experience is changing. So body, mind, and intellect is not experiencer. There is something unchanging in your experience. That is knowing. That is consciousness. So the experiencer is not the body and mind and intellect. It is the consciousness. Does consciousness experience anything? Consciousness does not experience anything. Consciousness only knows. All experiences are knowledge for consciousness. Consciousness is the knowing principle. It's all experiences are nothing but knowledge for consciousness. Are you getting what I'm saying? I see a flower. The flower, I know the flower. That means the flower has become knowledge. So consciousness does not know any object. The consciousness knows only the knowledge. And knowledge ends up in knowing. The knowing never ends. Knowing is always there. I am Jnana Swarupa, awareness. Knowledge appears, disappears. Knowing, if you can compare like a ocean, knowledge is like a wave. Wave appears and disappears. Wave appears and disappears. Wave is just a name and form. The wave is also ocean only. So momentarily, your own happiness of the self is experienced momentarily in the form of objects. Otherwise, always there is knowing, and knowing is bliss. All our experiences are non-dual. The subject object is not there because object is, there's nothing called object actually. The object is nothing but thought. Thought is nothing but consciousness. Consciousness is experiencing itself in the form of a thought object. Every object in the world is nothing but a thought. And every thought is nothing but an appearance in consciousness. Appearance in the consciousness like a wave in the ocean. So how can enlightenment be a new experience? Because any experience is temporary. And the temporary experience is not enlightenment or liberation. Are you getting what I'm saying? That's why there is one master called Papaji. He used to see Krishna every day because past life samskara. He used to play with Krishna. When the children are playing with other boys, he used to see Krishna and play with Krishna. And Sri Ramana Maharshi comes to Ramana Maharshi and says, I am playing able to, he is very proud. He has experience of Krishna. He says, I am playing with Krishna all the time. So Ramana Maharshi says, do you play with Krishna in your dream or deep sleep? No. Then is it a permanent experience? Then why are you proud of it? Papaji gets very, very angry. He thought Ramana Maharshi would appreciate him. The experience which is only permanent and all the time is real experience. We are ignoring it all the time. Self-realization means recognizing that ever-present experience. That's all. Self-realization doesn't mean that you are getting new experience. Enlightenment doesn't mean that you get a new experience. Always which is present, that experience you are recognizing. It's like a movie. It's like a movie. Screen is always there. Movie is only projected and then switched off. The screen is always there. The self-awareness is there as a background of all experiences. We don't recognize that self. Who doesn't recognize self? Self itself recognizes itself. The character on the movie ignores the screen, thinks that he is separate. The ego says, I am separate. But ego is appearing from the screen called consciousness and disappearing into the screen called consciousness. In any experience, before I become aware of any object, I become self-aware. Without becoming self-aware, I cannot become aware of any other object. Is it possible? So I see a flower. Before seeing the flower, I have to become aware of myself. The self-awareness to come. The self-awareness is the background of all awarenesses. The self is present in the waking state, dream state, deep sleep state as the witness of the waking state, dream state, deep sleep state. Waking state, the body comes and the world comes, and there's the experience of the body and world. Self is the witness. In the dream state, another body and another world comes, that also is witnessing. In deep sleep, there's nothing as witnessing. The self is the witness in all the states. The self doesn't undergo any change. It is a permanent experience. It is the eternal experience. Only the self is the eternal experience. Are you understanding what I'm saying? Every other experience is a temporary experience. Temporary experience is not real. And when you are experiencing temporarily, also you are experiencing the self only in the form of happiness. And you are experiencing self only in the form of knowledge. Knowledge and happiness, both are nothing but appearance in self only. Self only appearing. You are never experiencing the object, you are experiencing only happiness in the object, which is nothing but self. The knowledge of object is nothing but self only, because self is Atma Swarupa, consciousness, Chit, and self is Ananda Swarupa, bliss. That only you are experiencing all the time. And before experiencing all the time, before experiencing, the self-awareness is there. That is also self is aware of itself. Self exists. It's our nature of awareness, which is always there as a background of every activity, every state of consciousness. That's why even Nirvikalpa Samadhi or any type of Samadhi is also not realization. So, in all our experiences, we are ignoring the self. who is the knowing principle. The experience appears and disappears. The knowing continues. The knowing is always there. The knowing principle is the self. The knowing is the being, Atma. And the being is the bliss, Ananda. That is ignored. Then, what is this realization? What is this permanent experience I'm looking for? What is this enlightenment which people speak of? First is understanding that what is this? Understanding what you are ignoring. So the Guru, through teaching of Vedanta, points out to you, yourself you are ignoring. Self is only being ignored. So this understanding, clarity of understanding is called enlightenment. And that happens the moment you listen to the truth. If you understand the truth, in the presence of the master, the truth is understood. I am the self. It doesn't require a logic, because to understand and see something, you need a logic time. But to understand the truth, it doesn't take time. It is Shravana Matrena. By hearing, you understand what master is speaking of. Ignorance gets dropped when the master speaks of. Why? Because the presence of the master is not a body and mind. Master is the presence. Master is the consciousness. Master is the Atma. And when he speaks the truth. And he speaks the truth, not to your mind, but to your Atma, to yourself. The Atma is speaking to the self. Self is speaking to the self. In that moment, you understand. Oh, that's why many students say, Guruji, when I sit in front of you and listen to the truth, I almost understood, and I thought I am already realized. I already am getting. I am realized. But the moment I go out from the house, the mind starts gathering. So now you have to understand the difference between enlightenment and realization. Enlightenment is recognition of truth. It happens instantaneously when you hear the truth. Shravana Matrena. But liberation is a problem. What is liberation? The samskara, the deep-rooted, embedded samskaras will come out. And samskara means habit patterns of the mind. The habit patterns of the mind comes up. Okay? And they will again say, I am the body, I need realization, I need enlightenment. These habit patterns come. Are we clear? Now, after listening to the truth from the master, at that moment there's a feeling, yeah, I understood the truth. This is the reality. I am the truth. But the samskaras will come. Shravana Matrena. Jnana is by listening only. But samskara is your deep-rooted impression. What to do with that? Now here, the manana comes into picture. Shravana and manana. Shravana is you listen to the master. Manana is what you talk to yourself. Your self-talk. Are you understanding? We do self-talk all the time. We talk to ourselves. That's called manana. Are you clear? What do you talk to ourselves? So you say, I am an idiot. So many years I have listened. I have not understood. What is self-talking? You are talking to yourself based on the vasanas and samskaras, impressions. Guru is telling you clearly, enlightenment is here and now. But your samskaras tells, oh, enlightenment is such a difficult activity. I have to do so many times. Guru, the talk of the Guru, you listen for half an hour. But you do self-talk 23.5 hours. Are we clear? Do you do self-talk? You talk to yourself, about yourself. Oh, I am I have so much of suffering in life. Are you are not suffering in life. Atma never suffers, is told. At that time when Guru tells, it's clear. But after that, you do 23.5 hours of self-talk. Please understand, after listening to the truth from Guru, you have to replace your self-talk from Guru talk. Manana is self-talk replaced by Guru talk. So Guru says, Tattvamasi, you are that, you are consciousness. Okay? Your self-talk based on vasana and samskara is, I am suffering. That self-talk has to be converted into manana. I am consciousness. Consciousness is bliss. So now self-talk has to be converted into Guru talk. Guru has to be in your heart. That is the meaning of bring Guru in your heart. Replace your self-talk. The self-talk is coming from samskara. Talk from the Guru is to be replaced with self-talk. That is called manana. Shravana. Shravana gives mukti. Shravana means instantaneously feel liberated. I am the self. Presence of the Guru, his communication affects you. That is called enlightenment, because ignorance gets dropped. That's instantaneous. That's here and now. But the samskaras, impressions will overcome. Now, if impressions start talking, the Guru is over. Guru is left. So you have to have Guru in your heart. Your self-talk has to be replaced by Guru talk. Then the samskaras will start changing. If your samskaras don't change, you'll continue to be there. When you say, I have not realized, you are speaking of the samskaras. Because self doesn't require realization. You are the self. The samskaras, habit patterns are coming and giving a self-identity. I am so and so, I am happy, I'm man, I am woman. All those samskaras are coming. The samskara is coming because of self-talk. You are reinforcing your samskara by your self-talk. Bring jnana from the Guru in your life. That is the purpose of Vedanta teaching. That's the purpose of self-inquiry. All these self-inquiry talks, you remember and understand. The moment you say, I am suffering, ask a question, who is suffering? Does the self suffer? So bring the Guru into your life, Guru into your mind. Self-talk is replaced by Guru talk. Replaced by inquiry, which is initiated by Guru. Who is the self? That is the only way you can get rid of samskara. Are you clear? Now this will start displacing or replacing your old samskaras. Shravana means listening to truth. Manana means bringing the truth into your mind. That means teaching of Guru into your mind. Now, we need to create another deep-rooted samskara. No. Atma Jnana doesn't create another samskara. Atma Jnana removes samskara. See, any thought which you repeatedly do will create a deep impression. For example, let us say you repeat, I am becoming better and better, I am becoming better and better, I am becoming better and better. It becomes a deep thought. Or you say, I am stupid, I am stupid, I am stupid. That becomes a deep thought. Okay. But when Guru points to you, what is that I am? Okay. I am is not an object. Everything is an object. The flower is an object. The tree is an object. But I am is not an object. I am is the subject. I am is what you are. You cannot see what you are. No knowledge of what you are is possible. You are self-aware. If I ask you, do you exist? You say, I exist. Your existence is self-awareness. Are you conscious? Yes, I am conscious. That no proof required. So, inquire who you are does not give you answer. It ends the question. When Ramana Maharshi says, find out who you are, it doesn't come with the answer, because answer is a thought. Answer is a samskara. But I exist, I am conscious, you are self-aware. That's not a thought. So, replace your self-talk with the Guru talk. Bring Guru in your life. Teaching of Vedanta, you bring in your life to remove your old samskaras. Then inquire, who am I? Who am I doesn't give you another answer. Oh, I am Brahman, I am conscious. That's also mind. Really, I am awareness. I exist, I am aware. For that, I cannot give any proof. So, that who am I question brings the mind to a silence. And stay in that silence. That's called self-abidance. Again and again, become self-abiding self. Are you getting what I'm saying? Again and again, go back to yourself. So, to remove your samskara, bring manana into your life. And in that, inquire, who am I? Who am I is the I am existence, I am consciousness, which you are self-aware. There's no proof required. So, who am I question ends in no answer but silence, which is yourself. So, removing old samskara and abiding in the self is what is required. Atma Vichara done in the presence of Guru is like a surgery. Guru is removing a deep-rooted ignorance and cutting off surgery. Again and again, surgery is not required. What is required is some ointment has to be applied and you have to apply healing. Your samskara, old samskaras have to heal. For that, you have to take Guru's words into your house, mind. And your self-talk you have to replace by Guru talk. Guru in your heart means that. So old samskaras will go. New samskaras won't develop. And ask who am I? And then who am I does not give an answer because you are awareness. I am awareness. I am existence. So that's not an object. So who am I ends up in silence and stay in that silence. That is called Nidhidhyasa or abiding in the self. Abiding in the self just means that again and again get to know yourself. Right now you only know others. You know only something else. You know your self-identity. Get to know yourself again and again. This will weaken your samskaras. Okay, this is not a new realization. And in fact, self is the only experience we have. All other experiences are just an appearance. When I drink a cup of coffee, I feel happy. The happiness is the experience of self. When I see something, I am not seeing. I am only knowing. Knowing is not even being. I only experience myself all the time. Self experience itself in the form of knowledge. Self experience itself in the form of happiness. So, a clarity in understanding while Guru teaches is called enlightenment, mukti, enlightenment, jnanodaya. And that is instantaneous, that's here and now. But liberation, you have to do some work because you have created a lot of samskaras. So that also is simple, provided you bring Guru into your heart. Don't leave Guru in the ashram, Guru in the place. The teaching of the Guru you bring in your heart. Whenever old samskara comes, bring the teaching of Guru, the word samskara will get destroyed. Then ask who am I? The who am I, there's no answer. Who am I? Silence is the answer. You cannot say about awareness. You know you exist. You are aware. So that is the answer. So get to know yourself again and again. Get back to yourself again and again. It's called Nidhidhyasa. Shravana, Manana, Nidhidhyasa. This you do, your samskaras, word samskaras will get lost. Is this clear? So now, I will take you through a process of Nidhidhyasa. Next 20-25 minutes. Okay? So that is that I call as ocean and wave. Ocean and meditation. Actually, the word meditation is wrong. Meditation is an object. Nidhidhyasa involves going back to yourself. Going back to yourself is not a meditation. It's called Nidhidhyasa, protecting the wealth. Going back to your own self. And when I go back to myself, what is there? I go back to myself in deep sleep. Peace. Go back to yourself in the waking state. Jagrata Sushupti. Remember how you are in deep sleep. That is called Nidhidhyasa. So this meditation I call Sagara Lahari Nidhidhyasa. I just give a name, Sagara Lahari. Sagara means ocean, Lahari means waves. So let us do the Nidhidhyasa, meditation. I'll answer the question after the end of meditation session. Nidhidhyasa. Okay, I'll use the word Nidhidhyasa. For common people, it's called meditation, but it's not meditation. It is a contemplation of the truths of Vedanta. Close your eyes. Sit in a comfortable position. You have closed your eyes. Now become aware of the world around. You become aware of the world around as if you are seeing through your forehead, third eye. There's a world, big world out there. Is there a big world out there? It is only a thought about the world. The world is not there. There's only thought about the world is there. The gross world is nothing but thoughts, subtle world called thoughts. There's no gross world, but only thoughts of the gross world is there. There is a sensation on the forehead. Thoughts are appearing in consciousness and disappearing in consciousness. Thoughts of the world is nothing but knowledge of the world. Knowledge appears in consciousness and disappears in consciousness. Knowledge ends up in knowing. So the world is nothing but consciousness only, which is myself. Become aware of sensations of the body from head to toe. Become aware of the sensations rising and falling. Gentle sensations, vibrations, whatever you feel on top of your head. The sensations are rising and falling. Sensations are not stable. The sensation also appears in my awareness and disappears into my awareness. The sensation is a knowledge. Knowledge appears in consciousness, in knowing. So sensation is like a wave in the ocean. Wave appears, disappears into ocean. Sensation appears in consciousness, disappears into consciousness. Become aware of sensations in the face area. Sensations rise and fall into consciousness. Become aware of sensations in the chest area. Sensations rise and fall in consciousness. Become aware of sensations in my leg area. Sensations rise and fall in consciousness. Sensation is like nothing but a wave in consciousness. Wave appears and disappears. Become aware of a breath. Is there breath? Breath is a feeling which is there. I am breathing is a feeling. The feeling is a thought. Thought is appearance in consciousness and disappearance in consciousness. So breath is a movement in consciousness. Breath is a wave in consciousness. So consciousness point of view, everything is consciousness only. From water point of view, the ocean is water, wave is water. I am the water. I am the pure consciousness, awareness, knowing principle. In the consciousness, the world arises, world appears in the form of thoughts and perceptions. The body appears in the form of waves. The ocean and wave is nothing but water only, awareness only. I am that non-dual awareness. The wave comes and goes, nothing happens to water. The ocean appears and disappears, nothing happens to water. The world appears and disappears. The body appears and disappears. Nothing happens to my awareness. I am that awareness. I am non dual. I am infinite. The body is appearing in my awareness and disappearing in my awareness. It appears in the form of sensation in the morning. It disappears in the dream. Another body appears. In deep sleep, it disappears. Like wave appears in ocean and disappears into ocean. The sensations, thoughts, feelings, emotions appear in consciousness and disappear in consciousness. Nothing happens to consciousness, awareness, the knowing principle. The water rising, wave rising and falling does not affect water. I am that awareness. From water point of view, there is no ocean or wave. All that is water. From the point of view of consciousness, there is no world, there is no thought. I alone exist. I am the self Atma, awareness. I exist, I am existence, I am consciousness, awareness, I am blissful. Stay with that understanding. If any thought comes, understand it is a thought. Thought is nothing but an appearance in consciousness. Awareness, stay as awareness. Remember the deep sleep state. There's no body, there's no mind, there's no world. All thoughts have disappeared. Remember the deep sleep state where there's no duality. I am that self. Sleep in the waking state. Remember the sleep in the waking state. Jagrata Sushupti. I am blissful. I am Advaita, non-dual. Any thought or image comes, remember that thought or image again is arising from consciousness. Take your attention back to consciousness, yourself. abide in the self, Nidhidhyasa. I am that consciousness, Shivoham, Shivoham, Sachidananda Atma, Shivoham, existence, consciousness, bliss. I am. I am is the only experience we have, permanent experience. Everything else is temporary. All temporary experiences are mithya. Even in that temporary experience, I experience myself. When I see any object, I see only the qualities of object. Qualities of the object is conditioned consciousness. The object is really existence appearing as object. Existence appearing as flower, existence appearing as sun. I am the existence. I see myself in all the objects. Sarvam Khalu the Brahma. When I experience happiness in objects, it's happiness of the self alone which is appearing as object in that experience. So all my experiences of happiness is my own self. I experience self only in all experiences. We'll conclude the session. This is called Nidhidhyasa. Nidhidhyasa is when you close your eyes and go to self as if you are in deep sleep. That is Nidhidhyasa. In the waking state, you live with the understanding all that is there is self only in the form of existence, and I am that self. All happiness I experience is nothing but self only. Self is happiness, love, bliss. I am that. We'll conclude today. Asatoma Sadgamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Lokaha Samastaha Sukhino Bhavantu. Lokaha Samastaha Sukhino Bhavantu. Lokaha Samastaha Sukhino Bhavantu. We will continue our session on Monday. If there are any questions, I'll answer. There are questions, some questions. I'll try to answer the questions. See, enlightenment is here and now. When I say, for recognizing yourself as existence in consciousness, you don't need any external object. When you go to a room, if a dark room, if I ask you, do you exist? You say yes. Is the table exists? You don't know. You can't see because there's light. Your existence is never under question for you, and that understanding, recognizing yourself is called enlightenment. For any other experience, you need time. For recognizing yourself, you don't need time. That's why it's here and now. Now is not a moment. Please understand. Now is yourself. There's nothing called time. The past, present, and future are illusions that I have already talked about it. Time is an illusion. Your experience of yourself is not in time. It's beyond time. That's called now. How can you say that enlightenment will not happen in future then? See, you have to understand my answer of my first question. Enlightenment is recognition of yourself. You recognize yourself always, but you mistake yourself for the body. That ignorance can be removed, okay, through teaching. And the moment the teaching is given that you are that and why you are that ignorance goes. It doesn't require a million times repetition, you are that. Because recognizing yourself is instantaneous. Before I become aware of other objects, I should first become self-aware. But self-awareness is there all the time. That's the point. Self-awareness is there all the time. Self-awareness is only the primary experience. So the question is, before I become aware of the other objects, I should become first self-aware. But self-awareness is there all the time. That's right. That's correct. Self-awareness is the background. It's like a screen. It's there all the time. But in all our experiences, we ignore the self-awareness and we give importance to object awareness. And also self-awareness, you confuse with the body and mind. So the enlightenment or liberation is separating out the self-awareness from the confusing with the body and mind. And that clarity is called enlightenment or Atma Dhyana. Does enlightenment liberation happen in the same time, lifetime? Because there are infinite vasanas. See, this question is coming from the mind. And this question, enlightenment liberation happening in the time, there are two types. I have already talked about two paths. Okay, you have to go back to my earlier talks. The path of a gradual path or progressive path, where it says enlightenment happens over millions of lifetimes, vasanas happen over a lot of lifetimes. Whereas Atma Vichara is the final. Atma Vichara, what Ramana Maharshi taught, is here and now. To recognize that there is no birth, there is no death, you are the self all the time. There is no question of vasana. All these are mithya. So when the question, every appearance is mithya, where is the question of it is taking a lot of lifetime? So please, you have to go back to my earlier talks and understand the meaning of mithya, meaning of what is self-enquiry. The self-enquiry is the direct path. Direct path, there's no concept of time. Time is still an illusion. Okay. So please understand, I am bonded, I require liberation, it's an illusion. Self-enquiry is there to remove that illusion. I am telling only the vasanas, samskaras are there because your illusion is deep rooted. For removing that, you have to have manana. Otherwise, there's no bondage, there's no liberation, there is Atma. Atma is never born, there's no death. So these you have to understand from earlier talks. Okay, with that I will conclude. Namaste. Wait. Vaniji has said, there is one more this thing. Self-talk is manana. Establish Sadguru in your heart and replace the self-talk with Guru talk. That's right. That's exactly what is the meaning of manana.